Hello there, and welcome to another Starfield video. Today's video, we're going to be reviewing the Achilles, or in my case, the Achilles 3. So the 3 just denotes a tier increase. Aesthetically, the ships will always be the same regardless of the tier. The only difference will be a stat upgrade depending on the tier. So for instance, my Achilles 3 has a reactor of 26, whereas you may find Achilles 1 that has a reactor of 20. So aside from that, ships will stay the exact same. So just looking at the design, it is clearly a Deimos vessel, with everything really being Deimos, aside from... No, I think it's all Deimos, which is nice to see. So it seems to be like a... Obviously, this version of the Achilles 3, it's like 120k, which is kind of pricey for an A-class, but if you find the base Achilles, it's going to be like significantly cheaper, depending on perks. It seems like it's supposed to be like an entry level, you know, like upgrading from the Frontier. So, looking at the stats, we've got a fuel of 50, which is extremely abysmal. I would recommend pumping, or removing that fuel tank and putting a better one. With 50 fuel, you can barely jump, like, with system to system. You have to basically make short hops, which is very annoying. It's got a hull of almost 700, which isn't too bad for an A-class. It's got a cargo capacity of 445, which... It's not the best, it's not the worst. It's... Definitely, like, Deimos have this thing where they like to make their ships combat capable first, and then they put on the cargo later. So they seem to have tried that a little bit. Reactor-wise, we got an A-class reactor with 26 power, which isn't bad, but it's not good. I would probably recommend upgrading to a higher... I know the highest tier reactor in this style is 29, and then there's another A-class reactor. It's a different style that goes up to 34. So if you plan on like sticking with this ship in the long haul, I would recommend upgrading the reactor. Can only house a crew of 2, which is kind of a bit of a letdown. You can definitely upgrade the crew a little bit more if you wanted to. There's that looks like a 3x1. I'm assuming that's a 3x1 engine room, which it's not the most ideal thing to put on a ship. So we can pull that out if you want to upgrade the crew. We'll do a teardown at the end of the video just to confirm anyway. It's got a jump range of 30, which is phenomenal, the highest jump range in the game, but with that fuel, you're not going to be jumping very far. So once you upgrade your fuel issue, you'll be jumping very far. It's got a shield of 600, which it's okay. It's not the best, not the worst. I think the highest A-class shield is around maybe 900. So if you plan on taking this into some hazardous combat areas, I'd recommend upgrading your shield. It's got a laser weapon, ballistic weapon, and then missiles. Single laser there on the ventral side. Looks like a singe. And then we've got the ballistic cannons under the wingtips, and then we've got that missile pod on the side there, the starboard wing. So this cost me 120k. Now your price will vary depending on perks, but it should usually be a bit cheaper if it's a tier 1. But yeah, let's purchase it. So I purchased this on Mars, on Cydonia. So here we are here on Mars. There's Cydonia there. And then Mars is in the Sol system. So if we zoom out a little bit more, there's Sol, and there's Alpha Centauri. So we're going to really quickly jump to a better place to showcase the ship. Alright, so here we are in my usual spot. So just looking at the kind of the aesthetic of the outside, the exterior, it looks very much like your standard Deimos vessel. It's like arrowhead shape, although those engines are not like the usual thing you see with Deimos. Just looking at the design with those vertical thrusters there, it makes me think that this is like an early Deimos design, considering it has those big lifting engines to kind of lift it into orbit, and then it has those large extended like boosters on the back. But I quite like the look of the ship all the same. So entry is through the back via a Deimos entryway. There's our grav drive there. So in we go. I like the Deimos entryway. I just wish there was a few windows, but then I suppose it's a spaceship for combat, so Deimos are like no windows. So I have a feeling I'm going to be greeted by a 3x1 engineering. Oh no, okay, never mind. So oh, okay. So instead we're greeted by a 3x1 all-in-one berth, which You may like this. Personally, I think this is a waste of space. You could easily put a crew station in here, a control station, which I'll show you at the end of the video when we do a breakdown, just so you can pump your crew up a little bit. And then we have the Deimos. Is that all we have? We've got the docker above the entry, which I quite like. I've given that. I like having them in the same area. And then, yeah, so we just have the bridge here. Your standard Deimos bridge. I kind of wish there was a bit of variety with Deimos' bridge. They only have two types. This one and then the large one. It's not a bad bridge, but yeah, this always feels to me like it's like a single-seat fighter or like a dropship as opposed to like a proper, like, spacefaring vessel.
I always enjoy these moments.
But anyway, let's take it off into space and see how she operates. Alright, so as you can see, we got those really big engines on the back. Let's take it off. So, just looking at the power management already, it seems like we've got a decent amount of power. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that everything's good. We might be using cheaper components like the weapons and stuff. But it's always nice to see a ship where, you know, you can power most things without needing to divert power.
Bring into position.
So I have a perk that decreases my power by... Or not decrease my power, that gives me 5 extra pips. So for that case, we're not going to be using 5 power. But in the base configuration, we can basically power everything with 1 pip to the grav drive. But note that the shield is pretty weak, as are the engines. So weapon-wise, we've got that single laser underneath that seems to be able to fire continuously, which is quite nice. We've got those ballistic cannons under the winglets, which again, pretty decent. And then we've got that missile launcher there. So it's a pretty decent weapon combination for like an entry-level A-class. So if we do a quick speed test. Speed test of 150, which isn't bad for the engines. Boost speed of... Okay. Boost speed of almost 600. Okay, so this ship is fast. Let's do a quick agility test. Okay, it's not slow, but not fast. I'd say that's like a 6. The pitch is a 6. The yaw is, again, about a 6. And then the roll is quite good. So I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Taking off in the ship, seeing that it only had like 4 power to the engine, I was thinking this is going to be problematic, but no, those engines are very efficient for what they are. So we're going to quickly go down to the planet now, and I will tear down the ship and show you the modules. Okay, so here we are in the shipbuilder. So we've got it split into 3 tiers. So the top tier, the only habitat module we have is the 110 DP Docker from Deimos. And then we have a Bastille S83 shield generator from Nautilus. It's an A-class, 600 shield strength. We have the Abysmal fuel there, 50 fuel, which is no, we don't want that. I'm just going to look real quick. Let me see. See, I usually go for some of these ones here. Yeah, so like these ones here, for instance. Let me see. So I'm trying to get one that would like snap to the same location. This one here is probably better. So you're getting, it's double the mass, a little over double the mass, but it's also 5 or 4 times. So yeah, I'd recommend swapping for something like this. Anyway, we have the 154mm toroidal reactor, A-class, Dogstar, 26 power. This is, I believe this is the top reactor. Let me just double check. Toroidal. No, there is another reactor, 164, that gives an extra 3 power, 29 power, which isn't bad. I'd probably upgrade this if you can. Now, there is better A-class reactors. I know just here we have a 33 here. Exact same profile, can fit in there nice, and yeah, you're getting an extra, what's that, an extra 7 power, which is really, really nice. And then we've got these Ares DT60 engines from Panoptes, 14,000 engine thrust, 2,600 maneuvering thrust. Very good engines, very efficient engines. And then we have here a 200 cm ballast cargo hold from Sexton, 245, and then we have this little Deimos spine D for the to connect to the cockpit. And then in the middle of the ship we have this DS 10.1 Phobos cockpit from Deimos, 200 cargo and 2 crew stations, and then we have this all-in-one berth from Deimos. Now I would recommend swapping this all-in-one berth out for, if you want extra crew, I would swap for the 2x1 control station, get you 4 extra crew. But if you don't really care about crew and you like want amenities, you could obviously put down a workshop as well. But yeah, then we have engine-wise, we have the 22 CB landing gear port and starboard there. We have this weapon-wise, we have this Atlatl 280A missile launcher from Lightsight, A-class, 4,800 range, 86.9 damage, and then 3 power. And then underneath we have a pair of these Mauler 105U autocannons, Horizon Defense, 960 range, A-class, 6.65 fire rate, and 14 hull damage with 4 power. So they're pretty hungry boys with 4 power. And then we have this Singe 4 megawatt laser, A-class, 1500 range, 3.5 fire rate, 22 shield, 4 power. And then we have the grav drive, the R4000 Alpha grav drive from Relodyne, 27 grav drive thrust, which gives us 30, which is pretty nice. And then we just have a pair of these Deimos A wing tips, port and starboard. Now, just looking at the vessel, at the end I will show you a potential customization on how we could make this ship slightly better. But anyway, on the final area here, we have this 120 LD landing gear from Deimos, and we have the NG landing gear 4 from Nova Galactic. So that's the ship itself. I'm just going to really quickly put it back together. So, if I was going to, this is just a little suggestion. Now, you don't have to do this, obviously, but you could. So you can swap out that, see that all-in-one berth for a control station. Slap that control station there. And then have a little 1x1 companionway there. And then another 2x1, you have a little workshop. You just grab this and put this up there. And then, if we get our docker, you can put this Deimos Slim docker up here. And then we'll just get a fuel tank here, just a decent one. Let me see. Got one of these ones here. I mean, technically you could probably put 2 of these. Yeah, these are pretty cheap. Slap 2 of these here. And then you have, it looks a little bit different, but you have your workshop and then you have your control station. This is just a suggestion, by the way. You don't have to do this. But it's just, I think anything is better than having that 3x1 all-in-one berth. But anyway, this is the ship. Let me know if you guys have flown this vessel and what you think about it. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.